Welcome to another short lecture on classification of electrical instruments. So in this lecture, we are going to look at various types of electrical instruments that is used for the measurement of the electrical quantities, such as voltage, current, power, etc. So let's see what are the different type of instruments. So the first classification is based on according to the use. The instruments are classified into the first kind of instrument is indicating instruments. These instruments are normally used to indicate the value of a particular electrical quantity, such as voltage, current, power, etc. So this particular instrument consisting of a calibrated pointer, a scale, and there is a pointer, and the pointer indicate the value that is being measured. The type of instruments normally you'll find it in substations, in electrical panel boards, etc. And these type of instruments are used for the measurement of voltage, current, wattage, etc. The second kind of instruments is the instruments are the integrating type of instruments. From the name itself is clear that this instrument give the integrated output, means the quantity that is being measured multiplied by the time of usage, such as the energy meter or the kilowatt hour meter, where we want to calculate the amount of energy that is being spent for a specific period of time. So these type of instruments having special mechanism, and that mechanism help us to find out the time integrated value of the electrical quantity that is being measured. This particular instruments is very common in all the in domestic customers, as well as for the industrial customers. In almost all the houses we will find this type of instrument that is used for the measurement of a kilowatt hour or the energy instruments, energy measurement. Now the third kind of instrument is called the recording type of instrument. These instruments normally you will find it in substations, where they want to plot the energy consumption, or the continuous recording of different electrical parameters, such as the voltage distribution, the frequency distribution, the frequency variations, etc. over the entire period of time, such as 24 hours of recording, or maybe you know the the uh, the recording for a long period of time actually. So this is very common. You will find it in the case of these substations particularly, and power stations. Now let us look at how the instruments are further classified. And here we are going to look at how based on the principle of operation, the instruments are classified as follows. The first kind of instrument are the PMMC instrument. PMMC instrument stands for Permanent Magnet Moving Coil Instruments. So from the name, it is clear that this particular instrument uses an internal magnet, to produce the magnetic coil. Magnetic field, and also it consisting of a coil, and that coil is allowed to move, means it is pivoted, and this type of instruments are called the moving coil instruments. In short, it's also called MC instruments. This type of instruments used for current and voltage measurement. And the similar instrument you'll also find in galvanometers, which also measures the small amount of current in the circuit. So a PMMC instrument, it's a construction side. If you look at, you can, as we have mentioned, that there are two bar magnet, north pole and south pole, which is available in the form of a U shape. Okay, it is available in the form of U shape, as you can see here. This is a continuous magnet, and one end of the magnet is like north pole, and the other end is like south pole. So this north pole, this magnet and this magnet is acting as a single unit. One of its side is north pole, other side is the south pole. Normally it is fixed. The model of this consisting of a moving coil, and the moving coil is basically a large number of turns. You will find it here, and these turns, will accept. It's going to accept the current that is the current or the voltage that is to be measured. So basically, this particular coil will receive the signal or the the quantity that is being measured, and because of this amount of current which is passing through this particular coil is acting as a tiny magnet. So when a tiny magnet, that magnet quantity is depends upon the quantity that is being measured. This particular tiny magnet, if it is going to situate in another strong magnet which is produced by the permanent magnet fields, there is a mechanical actions will be taking place, or mechanical force will be experienced. According to the motor law, when a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a force. So because of that force, the there is the attached pointer. Actually, you can also find there is a pointer is attached to the moving system. So it basically consisting of a vertical spindle, a vertical axis. The moving coil is already attached, and it is already pivoted so that it can be rotated. Then this particular axis is also the axis also consisting of a pointer, and the pointer is attached. Its pointer is moving over a graduated scale here. All right. Now there are two springs are used. The spring has got two different purposes. The first purpose, the springs will be acting as the incoming terminals for the current to, the quantity that is measured to get into the what you call the moving coil, as well as to leave from the moving coil to make the circuit complete. So the springs are acting as an incoming and outgoing terminals. At the same time, these springs also provide, there's a special mechanism that is called the controlling torque that we are going to discuss in the following slides. So when a current of some quantity is applied to the moving coil, then the moving coil produces a magnetic field, and there is an interaction between the field which is produced by the fixed poles and the moving coil. There is a force, corresponding force will be exerted. Because of that force, the pointer try to move over a calibrated scale, and the final calibration, final reading which we read on the scale, that is proportional to the quantity that is applied to the moving coil. So this is basically as a top view of the same instrument. You can see this is a calibrated scale, and there is a mirror normally used. It is used to overcome the parallax error, because normally if you want to read the value from the instrument, you have to make sure that you are going to read it from read it from the center actually. So if you try to read from the left or right, you may get wrong reading. So in order to align, in order to overcome this parallax issue, there is a mirror is there, and you have to coincide. The pointer must coincide with the image such that then the parallax problem that can be overcome. Now, the next type of instrument is called moving iron instruments. These type of instruments are basically working under the principle of electromagnetism, where instead of the permanent magnetic cores or permanent magnetic what you call poles, the system involves electromagnets here. So what you can see in this particular diagram is the electromagnets here. These electromagnets also called fixed coils, and these fixed coils, to these fixed coils, the external, the current that is to be measured or the voltage that is to be measured is applied. So when a voltage is applied to this across this coil, or when a current is allowed to pass through this particular coil, this coil is getting magnetized, and there are two there are two iron pieces are there actually. One of the iron piece is already attached to the fixed coil, and one of the coil is attached. I mean, moving coil is attached to the center pointer mechanism. So what you can see in this particular image, there is one particular part. This particular moving coil is already fixed, and you have another moving coil, another small piece of moving coil, which is attached here. This is the second, the moving coil, and both these coils are magnetized by the same fixed core. I mean, fixed coil. So when two soft magnetic pieces are magnetized by the same magnetic field, then naturally there must be a interaction between these two magnetic coils, because both these coils having the similar polarity. As a result, there's a repulsive force will be experienced. Because of the repulsive force, this particular moving coil try to move. So once it's moved towards in this particular direction as shown in the diagram, the pointer start to moving in this particular fashion, and the pointer will give you some reading like this. So this particular mechanism, as we have mentioned, it is using electromagnets because there is no permanent magnets are used in this particular system. In addition to that, you will have also find some a particular component which is called the damping device. That damping, the purpose of the damping device, I'll be discussing in the next slide. So this type of instrument is called the repulsion type moving coil instruments. So here the basic principle is that there are two metallic strips, or the metal, the soft iron pieces, or the iron pieces, and one of them are fixed. One is fixed, actually the red one is fixed, and the blue one is movable. Both are going to be magnetized by the fixed coil. So then there is a repulsive force is experienced between these two soft magnetic pieces. As a result, this moving system try to move. When the moving system try to move or deflects, that will also cause the moving system and the pointer also move over the calibrated scale. And the amount of deflection that is proportional to the amount of force which is experienced between these two plates, and that is in turn proportional to the amount of current or voltage that is going to pumped, or applied to the device actually, to the instrument. So this particular principle is called the repulsive principle. Then here we're talking about the attraction type instrument. The principle is also same, only the difference as there is a moving coil, moving plate is here, moving iron. So this is something but a moving iron, and this is like a moving iron disc actually. And this particular moving iron disc will be attracted towards this particular space, and this space consists of what you call a magnetic field, which is produced by the fixed coils here. So when we apply some current, or we apply some voltage to these particular coils, these coils become a magnet, and that magnet will pull the soft iron pieces or the moving iron into the magnetic field. So when there is a pull, that pull will also try to move the pointer. So here the mechanism is attracting the attraction of moving iron to the magnetic field that is produced by a fixed coil. Here also we have a special mechanism that is called the air friction damping system that will be discussing in the section damping system. So in this particular mechanism, the soft iron piece will be attracted because this is basically a freely what you call movable axis. It's already pivoted. So whenever this particular magnet is activated, electromagnet is activated, then this particular soft iron piece will be attracted toward this space. And when it is deactivated, then by means of a mechanism, this we call as the control mechanism, this moving coil, moving iron will return back to the original position. Okay. The next type of instrument we are going to discuss here is called the electrodynamo type instrument here. So the electrodynamo type instrument commonly used for measurement of something like watt meter. I mean measurement of wattage, okay, or watts. So as we know that watt is nothing but the product of voltage and current. So in this type of instrument, there must be two type of coils here, and one coil is applied across the circuit, I mean across the supply, so that it measures the voltage, and one coil will carry the load current. So what you can see in this particular image, you can see that there are two type of coils. One coil is the fixed coil, another one is the movable coil or the moving coils, and the current is applied through these fixed coils. These are the fixed coils here. So these two coils are connected in series, and that is again, connected in series with the pressure, I mean the second coil here. So what is going to happen in this case? There is an interaction, between the field produced by this coil, these coils, and the moving coil, and that will produce, some kind of deflection here. These type of instruments can also be used as ammeters and voltmeters as well, but they are most commonly used as wattmeters. Now, this type of instrument, we'll find it in the particular fashion here. So here, as we said before, this particular coil is acting as current coil or series coil, and there is another, set of coils that is called the voltage coils here. So this will be acting as the voltage coil or the pressure coil, voltage coil or the pressure coil. So this type of instrument that can be used to measure the wattage actually. So again, as I explained before, we have a calibrated scale and we have a pointer. And of course, there are some other external mechanism called the control spring. All right. Next, we are talking about the fourth kind of instrument that is called the induction type instrument. This principle, this instrument uses the principle of electromagnetic induction. So in this particular method, which is also using a technology which is similar to the earlier one, here also we use a pressure coil and we have got a current coil. So the pressure coil normally connected across the terminals, so which measures the voltage, whereas the current coil that measures the load current. Now, in between these two, what you call pressure coil and the current coil, there is a disc is situated, and this disc is attached to a shaft, and that shaft is already pivoted, which means that the disc can easily rotate. So when we apply voltage across the pressure coil and we pass some load current or the current through the current coil, there are two magnetic fields will set up. One magnetic flux due to the pressure coil, one magnetic flux due to the pressure coil, and another magnetic flux due to the current coil. And because of the interaction of these two fluxes, this particular disc try to rotate. And this particular mechanism is commonly used in energy meters. Now the next type of, so this is the example. So this is an energy meter here. And you can find the aluminum disc is already attached here, as we have already discussed here. An aluminum disc is already attached here. And this aluminum disc will rotate. And there is a register mechanism, and that register mechanism give the kWh reading directly. Now, we'll discuss about what are the essential torques in these type of instruments. So the first type of torque is called the deflecting torque. The deflecting torque is responsible for generating the deflection from the zero positions of the instrument to the final steady state position. So that deflection from the zero position, that is obtained by means of deflecting torque, or that's what the role of the deflecting torque. So the deflecting torque is based on any of the effect of electricity. It could be like magnetic effect. Maybe it can be a by means of permanent magnet, or maybe, like electromagnet, right? It can be electrostatic effect. It can be thermal effect, etc. So one of the electrical effect, because of one of the electrical effect, the quantity that is being measured should be converted into a deflection. So the deflecting torque will help the moving system move from the zero position. So this is the zero position here. Deflecting torque will help the moving system to move from the zero position or the rest position towards the final steady state position. So that is the basic role of deflecting torque, TD. Now the second type of torque is called the controlling torque. So when we apply an electrical current, for example, in the case of an ammeter, then the moving system move from the initial steady state position or the rest position, and it will reach the final steady state position, or it indicates the quantity that is being measured. Then if you disconnect the supply, or if you disable the circuit, the pointer has to return back to the original position. So in order for the pointer to return back to the original position, the rest positions, once the circuit is disabled, so we supposed to have some counter torque. That counter torque is provided by a torque called the controlling torque. And there are different mechanisms are available. One of the commonly used method is called the spring. So in this control system, I mean the moving system, there is a spring is attached. So when it is deflected, the spring is twisted in the opposite direction. So if you disconnect the supply, because of the restoring energy which is stored in the spring, the control system return back to the original location or the rest location. The second point is that there must be some amount of weight is attached. So we can see in this particular example, this example shows the spring system. So there are two springs are attached actually. There are two springs are attached here, and one spring is also, one spring on top and one on bottom are arranged. These are acting as the control spring. So if the pointer start moving from the initial zero position, the springs will be twisted in the opposite directions. And if you disconnect the supply or disconnect the instrument, because of the restoring force, the moving system will make the, or will allow the moving, pointer to return back to the initial position. Now the second mechanism here, there is some kind of weight is attached. Okay, this is called the control weight here. And now if the moving system should move, normally the moving system, if it is the system, if the instrument is disconnected from the lines, the instrument normally gives 0 reading. So now the instrument should deflect against what I call the control weight. So a fixed amount of weight is attached to the moving system. The pointer cannot move until the torque produced by the moving system should exceed the control weight here. So what will happen here, if you disconnect the instrument from the lines, because of the control mechanism or the control weight, the instrument will return back to the original position. So in short, this control weight always try to bring the pointer to the 0 position or the rest position once the instrument is disconnected from the line. So this is basically providing a restoring torque actually. So the control torque you can also call as a restoring torque. Now, next type of the torque is called the damping torque. So damping torque means when the pointer is deflected from initial steady state position, the pointer won't be able to reach the final steady state position in one step. So if you look at the response of the moving system, this axis is supposed to be the time, and assume that this is the final steady state line. This is the final steady state value. Then we will find three type of combinations. One combination is like this, or one type of response is like this. It starts from 0. We're supposed to have this is the final steady state point F. The pointer deflect from 0 position. It go beyond the final steady state value. It return back, and this what happened slowly the oscillations are getting lesser and lesser, and finally it reached the final steady state position. So there are oscillations are there, but these oscillations are kind of damped oscillations here. So this is one kind of response. Another kind of response is what? It starts from the 0 steady state position, and without any difficulty, it reached the final steady state position, something like this. This is what ideally we want. And sometimes the system will take a long time to reach the final steady state position. This happens normally if you have over damped actually, the system or this type of response we call as an over damped system. This system is called, it's an under damped system, and this particular system is called critically damped. The middle one is called critically damped. So ideally speaking, we are expecting an instrument whose moving system should behave like the middle one, which means it start from 0, it take the final steady state value without any overshoot. So now, in order to get a critically damped system, we need to provide some kind of torque. These torques are called the damping torque. So the purpose of the damping torque is to damp out unnecessary oscillations. You have to damp out unnecessary oscillations of the pointer below and above the final steady state position. Unnecessary oscillations of the pointer above and below the final steady state position. So there are different mechanisms are available. One of the inexpensive method is called air friction damping system, where this is the control, this is the calibrator scale, and we have the pointer here. The pointer start oscillating, the final, suppose this is the final steady state position. The pointer is, start oscillating in this particular, this particular range. In order to damp out these oscillations, the moving system is attached to a particular chamber. And this is like a chamber, normally made up of aluminum chamber, and inside which there is a piston is there. So now whenever moving system moves, the piston also is trying to move in and out. And because of the presence of the air and the friction, what happened? The oscillations that can be controlled. So in few oscillations, or in few steps, the final steady state position that can be achieved by using this mechanism. So we have an air filled what you call chamber. In the chamber there is a piston, and that piston is attached to the moving system. So whenever the moving system moves or damps, what is going to happen? The piston is also going to be moved to and fro inside the cylinder of the chamber, and because of the presence of the air inside, the oscillations that can be controlled or limited. It is another mechanism here where it's like a sector shaped vane actually. So this is made up of a sector shaped vane. Again, it is offering the same what do you call technique, where we have a chamber that consisting of air, and there is a vane, movable vane, which is attached to the moving system. So whenever the moving system try to oscillate, this vane is also going to be oscillated. Then inside of consisting of air, this air pressure or the air friction, against the air, that will damp out the oscillation. So this is the second type. Okay, I mean the same air friction, but there are two type of models here. This is another method which is not very common. In this particular method, we are using the fluid friction actually. So instead of air, we are using high viscous fluid, and there are vanes also attached to the moving system. So if this is a moving system, and if the moving system try to oscillates or try to vibrates, because of the friction of the fluid inside that is created, exerted on the vanes, will damp out the oscillations here. So this is like a circular, type disc, whereas this is another chamber here, and this chamber consisting of, high viscous fluid, and the fluid will, the interaction between the fluid and the rotating part will control the unnecessary oscillations, and thereby damp out the oscillations here. So this method is not very common because of the fact that the presence of oil inside, plus the positioning of this type of instruments also very important. It cannot be used for panel board instruments and so on, or this type of instrument has to be used in particular orientation only. Now, the third type of damping is called the eddy current damping. It is one of the most effective method of damping is the eddy current damping. And in this particular method, there is a disc is there. As we have seen in the energy meters, this disc is rotating. And in this particular mechanism, we are using a braking magnet. This magnet is called a brake magnet. A magnet is attached, and whenever the disc is vibrating, what is going to happen? That vibration will create an EMF. Then that EMF is called eddy EMF. Whenever a conductor cut magnetic flux, an EMF will be induced. So the same principle, we have a tiny magnet is here, and this magnet will cause an EMF on this particular disc if the disc is getting vibrated. And because of that, that induced EMF will produce a magnetic field on the disc. It is it's like a counter magnetic flux. It's a tiny magnetic flux, and this magnetic flux is going to interact with the main magnetic flux, which is produced by the series and the parallel coils. Already we have discussed in the previous slide. So as we have said before, there is a field which is produced by the pressure coil. There is a field which is produced by the current coil, and there is a field, there is a magnetic field, tiny magnetic field, which also produced because of the unnecessary vibrations. So in this particular manner, the vibrations can be controlled. Now we are talking about the mechanism. This already we have said. There are three types of mechanisms are there. One particular mechanism is called the underdamped system. This means that the provided damping is not enough. As a result, final steady state, this F indicates the final steady state position. Before the pointer reaching the final steady state position, there will be oscillations, but these oscillations will be damped oscillations, which means that in the beginning we have large amount of oscillation and the oscillations start decreasing, and after some time it comes to respond actually. So this shows that the system, the damping is not enough, which is less than what is required. That's why the system is called under damped system. There is another system is there where the, as we have said before, the moving system start from the zero position, but to reach the final steady state position, it will take a long way. So this indicate that there is too much of damping is provided here. And this, that is why it is called the over damped system. Ideally speaking, we are expecting an instrument with no overshoot or no undershoot, and the pointer will reach the final steady state position in quickly, you know. So this particular mechanism is called the critically damped system. So ideally speaking, the damping system is supposed to be critically damped. Now let us go back and see what are the, you know, the damping systems from the earlier diagrams. I mean the diagrams that we have discussed before. So now this is the mechanism here. This is an induction, you know, energy meter. Now you can see that the deflecting torque is produced by these two magnets, which are the pressure coil and the current coil, whereas the damping torque is provided by the braking magnet here. So this will provide the damping torque, which will, you know, remove the unnecessary oscillations. And in this particular mechanism, this control springs will be acting as the control, which will provide the control torque, and the frame of this particular voltage coil, that will be acting as the eddy current damper. So the frame of this particular rectangular frame will be acting as the eddy current damper, whereas the coil, I mean the spring will be acting as the control spring. Okay, so in this mechanism also, here we can find there is a former here, the aluminum former, and the aluminum former is acting as the eddy current damper, and there are control springs available, and these control springs are acting as the controlling torque. They provide the control torque. So control torque is provided by the springs, and the aluminum former of the moving coil will be acting as the eddy current damper. So these are the basic classification of different types of instruments. Before we end the session, we have to also try to find out try to understand the watt meter connections here. So as we said before, wattmeter is used for the measurement of power in a circuit, and such circuit consisting of, such instruments consisting of two coils. As we said before, we have a fixed coil and we have a moving coil. The moving coil is called the pressure coil, and the fixed coil is called the current coil. Or the moving coil is connected across the supply voltage, and the fixed coil carry the load current here. So in this particular mechanism, you can see that the fixed coil is divided into two halves. The first half is here and the second half is here, and the pressure coil is connected in parallel with some series resistances to control the resistance, and load is connected like this. So here we can say that the moving coil accepts the voltage and the fixed coil accepts the current, and this way we can find out the power consumption.